Hey everyone. Hey Tim, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Glad to be here. A nice 12-hour day of work and then jumping on the podcast as usual, at least for the last couple months. Today we have a great podcast, a great live show for you guys. Got our special friend Logan from Burris Optics.
Logan, what's going on, man?
And
nothing much, guys. How are you?
Good.
So if you know me, I've been hawking this Oracle Rangefinding bow sight for the last couple of years, and it's been pretty sweet for me, especially when you guys forget your rangefinders on the course, and and I can save your butts a little bit. But we're going to shoot it off to Logan and let us know about a couple of new things they got coming down the pipeline for Burris this year in the world of archery.
That's right. In the world of archery, right? There's always something new coming out, and this year was especially interesting because I believe at this exact time last year we were talking to you guys at ATA, right? We did a little podcast live there with you.
We did.
Had you actually sit down with one of our engineers, Jake. He was on the podcast with you guys, and he actually was the lead engineer on this project that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. And pretty exciting. You mentioned the Oracle Rangefinding bow sight that you've been using for the last year. I myself use it whenever I can.
Yeah.
I say that because not all states, it's not legal in all states. In my home state of Colorado, I can't use it, but everywhere else I do. So it's been a great product for us. People have been loving it, and that all kind of started, about 10 years ago with our Eliminator rangefinding rifle scope. And people have been asking, when are you going to come out with this with a bow sight? And then we did it, and people were like, all right, so what's next? When are you going to do a crossbow version of that? And here we are. So
love it.
It's the Oracle X is here, man. It's been a wild ride on the marketing side of things, just trying to get commercials ready and trying to get websites, web pages built up and everything. We released it yesterday, so it's been pretty well received so far. We're pretty happy with it.
That's awesome. And yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am that you guys came out with this. It is something that, made me jealous with Jamie using the Oracle on his compound, and to see this coming out for the crossbow is quite spectacular. Can you walk us through kind of the development side of that? How long have you guys been working on it? What is it like? Is it similar to the Oracle? Does it work similar to the Oracle for the compound? What do we got going on with it?
Yeah, man. So the easiest way to describe it is it's more like, if you're familiar with our Eliminator, it's more like the Eliminator than it is like the Oracle. The Eliminator has been around for 10 years, so we have tons of experience with rangefinding optics, ballistic curves, all of that. Obviously, glass, as we are an optics company.
Yeah.
And it's been in the works. The Oracle X has been in the works for 2 to 3 years now, so it's not anything that we just kind of sped up and did. We've been testing, refining, playing with, and we finally have it to the point where we believe it's perfect. And in our eyes, that's the only way we're going to release a product. So you saw the same thing with the Oracle bow sight. The Oracle bow sight was actually in development for almost 5 years before we launched it. So we really like to get a couple of units out, let people test it, get customer feedback, and then customer, ambassador, pro staff feedback, and then put that into the final product. And now the Oracle X is ready to go. It's like I said, a lot like our Eliminator rifle scope. So you mount the crossbow scope up on the crossbow. You put your crosshairs on the target. You click a range button. That's one thing that we kind of worked into this product that's cool is the range button is on a wireless remote. So you can either have it like on a necklace, or if you have a kid with you and you want to get them involved in the hunt, you have them click the range button for you. Or, you can really just put it wherever you want on the crossbow. My favorite place to put it, whether it's the rifle scope or the crossbow version, is up where the forearm end is on your front hand. And what's nice about having a wireless remote in that situation is you can actually put it there, because if there was a cord, you wouldn't want to run that cord past where all those moving parts are with the crossbow, right?
That's a great point. No, that's a great point. I mean, just the safety of that alone, not having to get tangled up in the cord, not having to worry about that, or for that matter, having it short out on you or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's a phenomenal design. That's exciting to hear on top of everything else that's going on with it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, the wireless remote's a pretty nice little feature. You can use the button on top to range as well. If that, wireless battery dies or whatever, you can still use the button on top of the scope. But I'm a huge fan of the remote because number one, from a comfort perspective, but number two, from a movement perspective, movement and noise. If you're in the whitetail woods and everything's dead, still quiet, to be able to not move your forehand, just click your thumb and then be ready to shoot is so much better than reaching and hitting and noise and clothes moving around. You know how it goes.
No doubt. And that is actually, I mean, that's why I'm so excited about this, right? Because when I hunt, I'm a type of guy, I like to eliminate as much as possible any issues that I can create. And one of those issues that is routine is the movement within the ground blind that I'm hunting in or the tree stand that I'm hunting in, where I'm picking up the rangefinder, trying to range it, then picking up the crossbow, or I have the crossbow in my hand and I'm trying to range it. And, maybe I put that rangefinder down and it clicks against the crossbow, makes a sound. Having this integrated within the crossbow with just the click of the button, man, that eliminates a lot of potential risks that I would have hunting. So
right.
I think that's absolutely awesome.
So much more ethical that way too. Sometimes you can't get another range, right? And then it comes to the point where, I think it's 40 yards. That would really help.
Yeah.
In your course, but just
no more guessing, right?
Right.
And if you're just chasing giant bucks like Jamie does, shooting just monster 8-pointers all the time, then you can't be moving around, you can't be making noise. So it's it's a good tool.
No doubt. So one thing that I saw is that the scope is actually zoomable too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a 2 to 7 power variable zoom. So a nice low base magnification that lets you take it all the way up. And whether you're shooting, going just distance on some targets, or if you're trying to just really like zoom through some brush or get up close on the vitals of a deer to take a good ethical shot, it's good to be able to zoom in. And the coolest thing that we did with our most recent version of the Eliminator, and that's actually how we found out how to do this technology, it's called Magnification Compensation. Sounds cool, fun to say, but it works really cool too. And what happens is, if you're familiar with kind of how a scope works, right? And as you zoom, right, your point of impact, if it's on the 6 o'clock wire, is going to change. So It stays accurate. If you range that animal onto power, and it gives you an aiming point, and you decide, I want to zoom in and check it out a little closer, that aiming point is going to change and stay completely accurate no matter where you are in the zoom range.
So I don't have to re-range at that.
No
way. That's sick. All right.
Yeah, pretty sweet. It's a good little deal. And again, that just goes back to our experience with the Eliminator. Having 10 years of experience with that thing, we just threw everything we knew from that into this crossbow scope. And then it helped too to have the Oracle's knowledge of like arrow flight versus ballistics of a bullet, right? So the easy programmability of the Oracle is the same exact way you set up the Oracle X. You Jamie, I know you're familiar with it, right? You dial that fixed 20-yard pin in. This is the same thing. You just dial those the crosshairs in like you've always done with the traditional scope, and then you set 1 and 2 other data points. Call it crosshairs maybe at 20, and then another data point at 30, another at 40, and you're done. And that thing just knows your exact arrow curve, your bolt curve now, right? Because it's a crossbow all the way out to. It depends on the speed of your bow, but I mean, we're shooting these crossbows with this Oracle X maxing out right around about 130. And I mean, just like that.
So what's the range of the rangefinder itself that's integrated in it? What's the range of the rangefinder itself? Like how far out can I range?
Yeah, 200 plus.
No way. Good.
Don't get any idea.
And the reason
that's absolutely plenty for any crossbow situation. I mean,
yeah, exactly. You're going to run out of travel.
I'm not going out past 60, right? I mean,
you're going to run out of travel in the scope before your rangefinder stops shooting. And the reason we make the rangefinder stronger than they have to be, Jamie, I don't know if you've played around with your Oracle at all, but the rangefinder on that thing is really strong too. I mean, you can range stuff out to 200 yards with that thing.
Yeah.
The reason we do that is how a LRF works, right? Is it has to send a signal out, it has to bounce off something and come back. So if you have some inclement weather like fog or rain or snow, you want a rangefinder that's stronger than it needs to be so it can cut through that stuff.
That makes perfect sense.
It does make a lot of sense because I've had a lot of handheld rangefinders. The fog comes out, they don't work.
Yeah, funny. We were shooting the Total Archery Challenge in Pennsylvania, and it was really foggy. It was last year before COVID and craziness, right? When you can't do anything in person. And we were shooting the Total Archery Challenge, and everybody in my group had handheld rangefinders, and it was so foggy none of them were working because they had cheaper short range ones. So I had to shoot first in every group. I'd pull up, come to full draw, range the target, get the range, shoot the arrow, and they were just like, everybody was pretty amazed by that. So
That's awesome. We do have a question from Isaac that's watching here. He's asking, so it works like a first focal plane?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Straight up
First
answer.
focal plane with, yes. So when it gives you that red dot, think of that as a BDC holdover, right? That's gonna, as you zoom in, it's gonna change to stay accurate. So yes, it works like a first focal plane.
Awesome.
Yeah, Isaac's kind of cheating. He's a Burris ambassador. Don't let him act like he's super smart.
Yeah.
He knows everything that's going on. But no, great question.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. Man, it's cool. Like, just, you think about scopes too, and you start as a scope company, you learn little things like the fog proof, waterproof, like nitrogen purging, like true nitrogen purging where it's pressurized and not just like people say nitrogen fill.
Yeah.
Right.
Woohoo. So you end up learning all these things, and it ends up, coming together, and you have a pretty dang good product,
That's awesome, man.
No, and we've been with you guys a couple years now, and it's not just all about it. I mean, the binos are working great. I had no trouble with the fog or fogging up. Now we got scopes for our guns working great, and they're great price too, right? You don't necessarily have to go buy an eliminator. There's great regular scopes if if that's out of your price range, and I mean everybody's just loving them so far compared to
I love to see that too, because it's all about the value, right?
Yeah.
If you're providing true value to your customers, that's what matters. We talked about our slogan of find what matters, right? There's a lot of things that go into that, whether it's a moral or ethical thing, or for us, it's providing good value to the consumer. And for the Oracle X, I mean, I'm sure we could have charged a lot more for this. We've had dealers, retailers, and customers banging our door down about a rangefinding crossbow scope for 6 years now.
It's about time.
It's about time, and it's here. The time is here, and we could have charged an arm and a leg for it. We just didn't. I mean, it's super affordable, so it's
Yeah, and I love it. I love that you built it off the backbone of technology that you guys already knew, right? So, I mean, the ability to really roll that out quickly and do that is awesome. I was just going to say, in regards to value, I mean, from my perspective, dealing with Burris and looking at the original or the Oracle for the compound and all that, for us, I think we found real value, not only in the price, and the price is definitely part of it, but we found value in the ease of setup, because there's been other attempts at and not the crossbow. I haven't really seen that, but at the compound side. And no matter what they charge, the frustration level of trying to set those up was just, it was irrational. I mean, nobody's going to go through the frustration level of that regardless of the price.
Time is money, baby. Time is money.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely it. Yeah, and reliability on top of it. So the ease of what it took to set up the Oracle on top of the price, just phenomenal combination.
Yeah, basically, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, I didn't want to say it out loud, but that is exactly what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, it did take him about 10 minutes to get his mic working before this. So
the funny thing was, this year I switched bows. I went from Ritual to the Cure, right? There was just, all I did was drop down to 20 and everything was right on the money. And I got the battery I had in the year before. So
you like that Cure a lot?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I shot that thing at ATA last year, and that is probably, as far as draw cycle goes, smoothest draw cycle I've ever.
I didn't even get to pull back on a deer with it this year, though. It was very sad.
Oh, no. They're wising up to you. They're starting to know they're starting to get a feel for you here.
More like a smell for them, but it wasn't COVID, so like God knows how many times people are showering around here. We do have another question from Ben here. He's asking, any plans to roll that technology out into binos, or or have you already done that?
No range finding binos with Burris just yet. I think that I've pitched it internally for sure, and we have plain binos, no doubt. I think that our engineers kind of pride themselves on being able to work the range finding technology into the optics. I think they pride themselves on, you talked about the value and the ease of setup and that bringing value. To me, the value is not only time savings when you're setting it up, but the time savings when you're in the field, right? So the ability with the Oracle to be at full draw, click a button, instantly get a aiming point, and to let an arrow go with confidence, knowing that regardless of your angle, you're going to hit where your pin is. the confidence boost and the time savings is where it's at. So although we could easily take our rangefinding technology and put it into a bino, it wouldn't really help you from a shooting standpoint because you'd still have to have separate. We talked about reducing movement, reducing noise. If you range on the binos, get the distance, you still have to do the calculation in your head. You still have to reach over to a separate tool, make the changes, and then take the shot. That's just, I guess, in the engineer's mind, a waste of time.
No, and in reality, it saves money. I mean, if you buy a nice sight, it's going to be $300-400. Then you buy a nice rangefinder, another $300-400. And the Oracle was well under that now. So,
and I'm not against that by any means. I think I think of myself a little bit as more of a traditionalist or a purist, you know. But there's a time and place for you know, taking the technology you have available to you and making the most of it. And
sure.
You know, honestly, prior to us having this product, I had never shot a crossbow once in my life. I wasn't against it by any means, because if it's something that gets, you know, more people into hunting, or if you're doing it for a land management perspective, absolutely. You know, I'm not going to look down on anybody for doing something. And then we got this product and I started testing it out and playing with it. They are a ton of fun to shoot. I mean, it's, especially if you get on a good bench rest with a crossbow and just see how far you can walk it out, it's so much fun.
Yeah, we've tried that in the past too.
Yeah.
Without that sight, so we're just using a regular one.
Well, that's you know, and that's interesting. So we've done long distance crossbow shots before, you know, out to what, 500-600 yards, trying to hit, you know, a balloon, and that was the hardest part, is trying to range something like that. Even out to 150-200 yards. So it would be, I would love to see, you know, at 150-200 how this performs out to those distances. I'm sure it's going to do amazing, but that type of technology where you're not kind of eyeballing the tree line, right, and trying to say, okay, the tree line's here, my range is only 60 on my scope, so let me go up another, you know, 3/4 of an inch, and maybe that's about right. Being able to range out that far is just going to make it fun to even try it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, if you get a good fast crossbow, and if you were wanting to shoot like really far, all you'd have to do is get a canted mount. Have you ever seen the guys who try to break the world record longest shot? So fun fact, it's actually done with our scope, right? The XTR2, fun fact.
Yeah. Love it. Love
it. Anyways, they get those crazy canted mounts where the gun will be angled up like this and the scope is straight. If you could get one of those mounts for a crossbow with our sight, it would work. With our scope, it would work great. You just got to figure out the mount.
I like it.
Okay.
So I don't know how much we can talk, but I hear there's some new things in the works.
Yeah. I mean, it's we haven't technically released it yet, but it is up on our website. So I suppose we can talk about it. Why not? So, you know, we were talking a little bit about the Oracle, the original rangefinding bow sight that we came out with and launched. And we improved it. We made it better. So there's an Oracle 2, and it's rolling out right now as we speak. We're getting units in. So it's exciting. It's not the Oracle 1 for me was a game changer, right? It was like nothing else like it had existed in the past. And the Oracle 2 is basically taking all the customer feedback we got from the Oracle 1 and just making it a little bit better. Still, just like the Oracle X, the Oracle 2 has the forever warranty that Burris has on all of its products. Still has no glass, still has a fixed 20-yard pin, still has angle compensation, still has all the good stuff. The things that we improved, we got a lot of feedback from our Eastern and Midwest hunters that the auto brightness function could be improved a little bit. So we stuck a bunch more technology into making that auto brightness more accurate. And then we also made the manual override so it can go even lower. So if it's getting really dark, you can turn that pin way down without getting that flicker and without it blowing out your field of view. And then the other major change that we made was when you're aligning the laser rangefinder to your 20-yard pin, when you're setting it up, we got a little bit of complaints around, oh, there's a little bit of slop in there. We made them micro adjustments now, so it's actually clicks. So you don't have to deal with that spherical head that we had before. So the only pain point of the whole setup we were able to take away with it too.
Wow.
always working. You know?
I never really noticed a whole lot of things, but that does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool.
So yeah, that Oracle 2 hasn't technically been launched yet. We were planning on doing it next Wednesday, but shoot, while we're here, we might as well talk about
when you put it on your website, it's fair game, right?
That's right. Yeah. We were talking about that. We're like, should we just launch the Oracle X and then wait for the 2? Like, you know what? Like, well, we'll put it up there.
Why not?
So,
let's see how it goes. No,
so the Oracle 2, we're starting to get it in. That'll be starting to hit retailers, within a couple of months here. The Oracle X, we have the first, couple hundred units are going out to different retailers. So keep your eyes open for those. They should be in retailers, absolutely everywhere by early June. So, and plenty of time to get those things on the crossbows and dialed in for hunting season.
So what are the price points on the X and the 2?
Yeah, I almost want to just let people guess so I can surprise them.
I love it.
But, the Oracle X, like I said, we could have charged way more for it. We're big on providing value. So the Oracle X comes in at $899 starting retail price, which you start talking about factoring in getting a scope, getting a rangefinder,
no doubt,
all that separate stuff. This all being in one package, pretty stellar deal. Yeah, and then the Oracle 2 is coming right at where that Oracle 1 was at $799.
Nice. So. Nice. And you hit it on the dot. When you think about it, it's not just a scope, you got, or a sight for that matter, with the rangefinder in there and the technology built in. It's not just a rangefinder. You got the adjustments for the angle and everything else that comes with it, just to make your shot that much more accurate and ethical. The quality, the value, like you said, that you're putting out with that type of price point is pretty amazing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love being part of a company that provides value and helps people. It's cool to see like a lot of the comments we got when we launched the Oracle, and you can go look at some of them. It's kind of cool because it just happened, right? Like yesterday, literally. So the timing of this podcast couldn't have been any better for us rolling this thing out, and people just, it's overwhelmingly positive. Like you don't get all the people just hating on the fact that, oh, it's crossbow this, that. No, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to like get my daughter into hunting, and this is such a great tool. And oh man, I've had this one like old doe that's been busting me for 5 years. I can't wait to kill that thing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, hey man, it couldn't have come any sooner for me. Like I said, waiting for years, and I'm so glad that you guys have launched it. And not that it's on the market, but better than that you guys were the one that brought it to market. Because it's absolutely, Burris, as a quality standpoint, we've been using you guys for years now. From a quality standpoint, we haven't really seen better. And a lot of that has to do with the value that you're providing and the quality that you're giving. So thank you for that. We appreciate it.
I appreciate
as consumers ourselves.
I beat the hell out of that site, and I beat the hell out of my binos, and I have had no issue. And it's always nice knowing in the back of my mind that, if I do mess something up pretty bad, that there's lifetime warranty backing me up.
Yeah. And hey, that's the beauty of like having our engineering team be all hunters and our product development. It's not like we're a bunch of lab rats that don't spend time in the mountains and in the woods. And that's why you end up with products that have just fail safe after fail safe. On that, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical using a rangefinding bow sight with the Oracle. And then I took it to Wisconsin, and it was freaking negative 10 degrees for like 2 days straight. And then another time I was hunting in the pouring rain, and I had the fog example of shooting the Total Archery Challenge, and the sights never failed me. But the one thing that gave me the confidence to trust it in the first place is knowing, hey, there's a 20-yard fixed pin that's there if crap really hits the fan. So
yeah, that's always nice to have that fail safe.
I just want
actually, similar with the Oracle X, it's the same thing. It's a scope. It's not relying on your battery power to work. It's just like the Eliminator rifle scope. It's a normal scope.
You got the hashtags in there.
You can still use the zoom. You still have baselines for BDC in case the batteries do go out or whatever fails. You still have crosshairs. You still have holdover marks. You still have a scope that zooms 2 to 7. And then it's going to work. So you're going to have a perfect holdover gun as well.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've gone out to the field and you have that little heart attack moment when you're walking out and you're like, crap, did I put my rangefinder in my backpack? Because without that, most shots with a crossbow, you're guessing, and it's not a good shot, if you can't range it right. So to take that frustration away from me or that fear away from me, thank you. You saved the heart attack.
The heart attack moment where you said where your stomach just drops, man.
That's it, man. You're like, you're thinking for a second, shoot, I thought I checked it, but I don't remember where I put it. And then you got to get all set up, dig in your backpack. And that moment, and I actually forgot it one time, had a doe come out in front of me, maybe 45, maybe 50. And I just let it pass because I didn't want to take a bad shot on it. So that would have solved that problem.
I just wanted to point out that $900 is a great deal for this product.
No doubt.
That's literally that is not expensive compared to other stuff in the industry. So that is a great price. And you guys did talk a lot today about obviously that and the range finding stuff, but I did want to point out that the Burris Optics are literally second to none and amazing optics. And I've truly really enjoyed using them this past year and the year before. And it has been so clear. And like the guy said, they last through anything, like rainstorms. It didn't matter. They were always there. So good job. That's all I want to say about the bias.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gad. I mean, I love hearing the positive feedback. I do. I love the fact that, we can provide products that help people and products that you can trust, because if you can't trust something, and I'm not going to lie, I spend a lot of time in the woods myself every year. And if you can't just beat the ever living snot out of your gear, then it's got no place coming out to the woods with you. So
yeah, it's not, and I'll tell you, it's not easy to do these calls sometimes and give out, positive feedback because there are negative sides to a lot of things. It's really easy with you guys and your products because it is just quality. And we have never, I don't think any one of us has ever had a single issue with any Burris product that we've ever touched. And that started, I mean, just the Oracle working so smoothly, so easily, being able to set it up so easily, and having Jamie be able to do it has been, from the get-go.
And then having me be able to set up all your rifle scopes and
I can't believe how fast Malcolm got that thing working. He never had an issue, and it was quick. And I've been able to test a lot of the different ones that are like that, and nothing compares to Burris when it comes to that type of like setup of speed and how easy it was. And for Jamie to do it is unbelievable. I mean, that's
it. We're gonna start calling it like the Jamie test or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah,
about
we do a video
is that I had bought a gun recently, and
what is he
when oh, go ahead, Jamie.
I said if we do a video on the X, we got to just film Tim in his regular timing and see how long it takes him to do it.
That's a good idea. Put a stopwatch on.
No pressure.
Now I'm nervous.
Continue.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna tell a quick story about just your rifle scopes. Is I had probably about a year and a half ago bought a 450 Legend, and as a package, it came with a scope that was supposed to be made exactly for that gun. Didn't come with it out. It was a package deal. So I got it because it was a cheap deal. I put that scope, and I'm not going to name the brand on it, but I put the scope on it, supposedly made for that gun, right? Put it on there. We could not get it sighted in. It could not adjust up and down enough for us to get that sighted in. I popped the Burris in its place, and in a matter of 5 minutes, we had that thing sighted in. So,
yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man. Not good to hear that there is another product not working for you, but good to hear that we can, help you out.
Nope, it worked well.
Thanks, Ben. I agree with that one.
I like these comments. I like these comments that come in. They're nice.
Ben should be excited. His binos are in the mail. He won the Burris Optics from the Christmas giveaway.
Oh
yeah.
Man.
Well, it's USPS. Hopefully, it's there by 2022.
Oh man, cool. All right. Well, hey, Logan, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody who joined us live for this event. That was a lot of fun, and a lot more to come, I think, this year. And if you guys get a chance, check out Burris online. And if you have any questions, definitely you can comment here, and then Logan can see them and answer later if you guys think of anything you have questions on. But this is going to be a cool year for you guys. I'm really excited. I think that what you're showing off and the price point is going to really change the way the industry works, especially in crossbow market. It's going to really,
no doubt,
make these companies like, wow, what am I going to do? And to be honest, you're going to start, I think, seeing it a lot more. I think you guys are going to get companies that call you and say, we want our bow. I think that's what's going to happen, because it's that type of product that everybody wants. I mean, it's like literally the coolest thing when you think of crossbows. It's like, oh man, I just don't have to carry a separate. I mean, literally, it's such a hassle to go like that and then try to get it back up and disaster.
So the OEM piece of partnering with crossbow companies is definitely something that we're talking about doing. I'm more of a fan of not doing that to start with, just because if most people already have a crossbow and they just want to add an optic to it, and why make them buy a crossbow and the scope, right? So I think we're going to try to just launch it as its own product at first to try to get it in the hands of people that want it. And then, people want to partner up, I'm sure we'll be willing to do that. The thing is, they're not easy to make. So we're making them as fast as we can, but I think the demand is going to be pretty decent. So if you get a chance to get your hands on one, do it. Well, we'll send one over to you guys to try to break. We'll see if you can.
Take it.
Yeah.
I love how Dave comes in the last 3 minutes. He's like, I'll take it.
What are you guys talking about? I don't know what you mean.
Hustle for it.
We'll have to get one over your direction, let you guys play around with it, let us know what you think. I like the idea of putting them on camera, putting them on the spot a little bit. Maybe do it live, really put some pressure on them.
I can handle the pressure.
I'll do the Oracle 2 on a timer. Let's see where we're at. See if
There you go. You can shoot the Oracle 2 against him on the Oracle X. You guys can have a battle.
I love it.
Works for me.
We love to compete, man. Hey, Logan, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see this in real life, in our hands, kind of playing around with it. You guys, again, this year, as always, raise that bar for the industry and keep going. So thank you so much, Logan.
Oh, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. It was fun as always. So.
All right. Hey, guys, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for joining us.